I want to welcome you to the Redox core curriculum. This lesson is going to focus on the topic of oxidative stress. Many people want to know, what is oxidative stress? And I hear so much about it. What does it really mean to me? The best way to describe oxidative stress is essentially that our cells tend to rust. And as we metabolize food and have a basic metabolic process, our cells are constantly fighting the battle of dealing with the waste products of combustion, and that's oxidative stress. There can be excessive damage or insufficient repair. When those two things are happening, then we're dealing with some stress to the body that isn't being taken care of. So sometimes what happens to cells as a result of this damage is that they age early and they stop working. The cells look nice, but they're not doing their job that they're supposed to do. So a kidney cell's not really filtering, it's just kind of sitting there. Sometimes cells will die off and the replacement process doesn't happen properly. This is called apoptosis. And then worst case scenario, cells will die and necrosis occurs or a scarring process, and that's it. There's a permanent damage. So there are a lot of things that we can do to help here, but the problem is during the last 30 years or so, there's really been an epidemic of aging, accelerated aging, and our bodies are rusting at rates that were just not present prior to the early 1970s. So there's a lot of people trying to figure out what has happened in these last 25, 30 years. And there's a lot of theories, but bottom line is we're seeing people show up in medical clinics with conditions that we used to see in the decade of the fifth decade, in the 50s and 60s or something, that are now showing up in children, even teens, diseases like diabetes, type 2. So what are the weapons that we can kind of initiate to help with oxidative stress, to help with this accelerated aging that seems to be going on? They revolve around a few things: our diet, proper sleep, exercise, a proper attitude in our living with a positive attitude, that kind of thing, and the concept of maybe supplementing with things that really can make a difference to our health. What can we do with our diet? Well, greening up our diet is valuable. Really good hydration. These things tend to increase our cells' capacity to make antioxidants, things like glutathione or superoxide dismutase. The antioxidants that we make in our cells, those foods increase the production, but just having more of these antioxidants that help defend our cells from the rust or toxins or free radicals, just having them doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be able to efficiently execute their work. These giant molecules, like antioxidants, need raw material to work with too. One of the critical pieces in antioxidants being able to do their work is having certain charged particles that they bring together with toxins to neutralize them. These little charged particles are called redox signaling molecules, and they're critical. They're normally present in abundance as we're youthful and full of exercise in our lives and plenty of vigor. But as we age, there's a diminishment in their presence. So the idea of supplementing our body with these molecules can help make a good diet more effective in helping us deal with the oxidative stress. Sleep. Well, this is a tricky subject, especially in today's day where everybody's working crazy hours, graveyard shifts that are called graveyard for a reason. It puts us in an early grave. But what can we essentially do to improve our sleep? We know that taking drugs and medications really just put a Band-Aid on the problem. They don't really solve the problem. So during our sleep, if we are secreting hormones related to stress from our adrenal glands, the body is in a state of sort of hypervigilance. It wants to be ready to take on the danger that these chemicals are signaling to the body. So what we need to consider is ways in which we can help the body maintain a balance and allow ourselves to travel through a gentle sleep cycle. There are signaling molecules, redox signaling molecules, that aid and assist us in the sleep process. And as we go through life, we don't always produce them in a balanced way, especially if there's a lot of stress that's causing the adrenals to secrete extra cortisol, norepinephrine, epinephrine, chemicals like that. And so these molecules can help to buffer and balance that problem. The next thing to think about is exercise, and exercise does improve our capacity to um, stay in balance physiologically. We're built to exercise. The trouble is we don't always recover properly. If we don't recover, then we break down or we get sick, and sore muscles, sore joints, and fatigue leads to illness and injury. So how can we accelerate the recovery process? Well, redox molecules can help there. And research is now showing that the cell's ability to maintain an aerobic metabolism and not shift into anaerobic metabolism, such as in the production of lactic acid, can greatly help us in being able to exercise efficiently and recover properly. So, in essence, the keys to dealing with oxidative stress are those things that your mother always told you to do: get your rest, eat right, and exercise. But today, we don't always get the value of those things. And part of the reason has to do with an insufficient balance or production of our own redox signaling molecules in our body. And so as we move forward in this busy life that we live, I think that it's absolutely critical that we, number one, pay attention to these things. That we need to do some maintenance to help our body stay in balance, and then to be smart about what we're going to do to provide some little secret weapons to give us a little added edge and get the full value of our health endeavors. I'm glad that you've been part of this conversation, and I welcome you to visit more teaching modules in the Redox core curriculum. Thank you.